Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. So I haven't filmed in a little while and I'm gonna update you as to why. It is nothing crazy or anything like that. I kind of forgot to film over the holidays when it was Christmas and stuff like that, and then literally the 1st of January, it was kind of like a bit before the 1st of January, but the 1st of 2019 is the day I started to get a really painful wisdom tooth and a really painful surrounding gum. And then from there on, like the whole side of my mouth was so incredibly swollen. I went to the dentist and I had a really badly infected tooth and also infected gum, which stopped me from talking, which I'm sure a lot of people were very appreciative of. So I couldn't talk for a little while, and then I had to wait for that to clear up before I could film again. There will be a time where I am going to stop filming again soon because I am getting my tooth out in 2 weeks. So I'm going to be filming as much as I can because there's going to be another long haul of me not probably filming because I won't be able to talk. Anyways, today guys, we are going through the favorite products that I have of 2018. Now I'm very aware that I'm very late for this video, but I just gave you my explanation as to why. I will mention this now. You guys are gonna hear a lot of, I love this product, this is the best product ever, this is amazing, you guys need to get this. If that is something you do not wanna hear, you know where the exit button is. Anyway, so let's just get started into my favorite products of 2018. Okay, so the first thing I thought we would start with is primer. So I have 2 favorite primers of 2018. The first one is the Too Faced Primed and Peachy Cooling Matte Skin Perfecting Primer. Wow. This was the new collection from Too Faced that was released a couple of months ago, I would say. So this honestly was such an incredible primer. I really loved how it smoothed out my pores and made my skin look quite soft, if that kind of makes sense. I don't know, it kind of looked like I had a bit of like a filter over my face and it just looked really nice. I also love the way this kept my foundation on. So it didn't matter what foundation I was wearing, it would always make them last really well. The next primer, of course, is the Hourglass Veil Primer. This is a tiny little sample, and when this runs out, I'm definitely going to get the big sample, but I don't mind waiting because this primer in Australia is, I think, like $80. That's so expensive. But once again, very similar to the Too Faced one, but if not better. This one makes you look so incredibly airbrushed and it makes everything glide on the top so smoothly and just so perfectly. This is a primer that I would love to use every single day, but the price says no. A lot of people on reviews have said that it kind of bunches up and balls up or something like that. I've never personally had that problem. I hope I never do because this is such a freaking good primer. Okay, so with foundations, I'm not gonna lie, I love majority of my foundations, but I can't necessarily show you every single one of them, so I'm gonna show you 3. I just realized I did that and I was meant to do that. Okay, so the first one, which is my absolute hands down favorite, is the NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. I have had a little sample of this for so long and the sample has lasted me ages. I still have so much left. I haven't opened the bottle yet, but I have mine in the shade Santa Fe and it is absolutely an amazing foundation. Probably the best one I've ever tried, and I have a whole drawer of foundations and it's ridiculous that it took me so long to come across this. I love the way it wears. It will last you such a long time. I find that I crease really badly underneath my eyes and in my smile lines and my forehead, but with this I seem to not have any troubles with it. I think it also comes down to the fact that you only need to use such a tiny amount. With a lot of my other foundations, I find myself using so much. Okay, so a really good one from the drugstore, which I find is very similar to the NARS one, but a little bit heavier, is the Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage Foundation. So this one is absolutely incredible. I feel like it makes my skin look so incredibly flawless. There's just no imperfections coming through whatsoever. I find that it doesn't crease as bad as some other foundations, but because it is quite thick, it will have a little bit of creasing if you do not set it properly. This is not a heavy foundation, however. Even though it is thick, I've never felt any sort of heaviness ever. And I've worn this maybe 5 or 6, 7, maybe more than 7 times, and I enjoy it every single time. Not to mention the color match is just spot on. The next one, which is a little bit surprising, but I do happen to wear this quite often when I just want like a no makeup day or anything like that, but I haven't used it on camera too often. But this is the BYS Pure Silk Serum Foundation, and this is the buildable coverage one, and I have it in True Beige. This is such a good foundation. It is like it says, buildable coverage, so you can go from a light to a medium to a full coverage. I have only used it to maybe like a medium coverage, but like I said, I usually wear this on my no makeup days because it is so liquidy and it is so light. It does come with this really cool dropper. I won't bring it all the way out because it'll just, yeah, it's gonna go everywhere. It is such an underestimated foundation, and I honestly think everyone needs to have this in their collection. Okay, so for concealers, I have 3, and these are the ones that I constantly use on my channel. So the first one is the Mecca Max Life Proof Concealer, and I have mine in the shade Ivory 2.5. This is such a good concealer. It is not cakey. It is not like going to crease. It doesn't go patchy or anything like that. This is a really good lightweight concealer, and the shade is really good. It is not too pale and it doesn't necessarily match my skin. It is perfectly in between. So this is something that I wear quite often because it's not a heavy feeling concealer. It is quite light and airy. As you can tell by a lot of products that I use, a lot of them are light and airy, and that's what I want. I hate that heavy feeling, and I've never had this from the Life Proof Concealer. Next is something that is a little bit heavier and should probably only be used for spot concealing, but I never ever do that. This is the NARS, what is this? The NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. We've all heard of this, we've all seen it, we all know what it is, but this is such a good concealer. This covers everything for me personally. I find that it has such good full coverage, especially if you're using like a full coverage foundation on top of this. Honey, you are bulletproof. Whenever I have my breakouts, I will pop it on there, cover it up, just like it never happened. I'll put it underneath my eyes. It can sometimes get a little bit cakey underneath your eyes, so just be sure to only use a tiny amount. Otherwise, honey, it's gonna be cake city. And then lastly, I swear a lot of people know this is coming, the Too Faced Born This Way Molting Sculpting Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. How did I screw that up? So I have 2 of these. I have them in 2 different shades, but this is the one I use all the time in the shade Vanilla. I also have the light beige shade, and that matches me quite well. The vanilla shade is just perfect. I love how brightening this one is. It is so freaking good. Not to mention, you can use this as like an all over face product. It says super coverage on here. I wouldn't say it's super coverage. I feel like my Maybelline foundation is higher coverage than this, but it's definitely full coverage. Okay, so moving on to powders, I only have 2. Only. The first one is the Coty Airspun. Obviously, I've been getting back into using this, and it's such a freaking good powder, especially for the price, and you get so much. I'm pretty sure I bought this like a year and a half, maybe 2, maybe 3 years ago. I don't know. I'm not even halfway through. Not even. The only thing that is not the greatest about it is it has a very, very strong smell of like flowers and like laundry detergent and just like all of those really strong smells in one powder. So if you're not a fan of fragrance, probably don't get this. This makes my makeup like bulletproof. It is a fantastic powder. The next one that is very similar, I find, to the Airspun, but it is a bit more expensive, so if you kind of want to splurge, the Too Faced Ethereal Powder is the way to go. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the packaging I'm not the biggest fan of, because this thing right here, like, that just annoys me. Like, I've got to flip it back and hope to God it stays there. But it's just hard because then you've got to like dip it in to the little lid, and then it's gonna probably go everywhere, which it usually does. And then you've got to make sure you try and get the rest of the powder back in the container. So that's the only thing I don't like. The actual product itself is so freaking good. I mostly use this to bake underneath my eyes because it holds my concealer so well. My concealer never really moves when I have this on. There's no flashback that I have had personally. A lot of people say this has flashback. I've never experienced flashback with it as far as I can remember. Mind you, I never take photos with flash on. No one needs to see that. Oh wait, there is one more powder. This is not a translucent powder like the others were. This is a color powder, and this is the Australis Fresh and Flawless powder. I have mine in deep natural and darkest brown. I have darkest brown for when I tan, which is like a lot. Deep natural I find is my perfect color. Not to mention the coverage that this powder can add is so freaking amazing without going cakey, without looking powdery or washed out or gross or anything like that. All right, so we'll do blush now because I only have one blush. I don't wear blush often. Honestly, like every single blush that I have, I adore because I do use it. But there's only one that I love and that I use more than any other blush that is in my drawer, and it is the NARS Orgasm blush. I have wanted this product for 1,000,001 years, basically since I started watching YouTube, which I think I was like 14. So I've always wanted this blush, and when I finally got it, it lived up to its expectation. Thing that I love about this blush is the fact that you can make it so sheer and so natural, and then you can make it so heavy and full on if you wanted to. It does have like some shimmer, like gold reflex to it, but it just adds that something else that I freaking adore. Okay, so we'll move into contouring and highlighting, my favorite. So the first thing I'll talk about for contouring is this one here. This is the Bare Minerals Bare Pro Contouring Palette. Now, I was very skeptical about when I was buying this because it was on sale, and I was like, oh my god, why is it on sale? Apparently it's been discontinued, but I can't remember, so if it is, I am truly sorry. But Bare Minerals still have like some really good bronzers. But this right here is actually really freaking good. So it does come with a little mirror right there, so good for travel once again. But it does have the contouring shade, the bronzing shade, and then the highlighting shade. And these are all matte. There is no shimmer, there's no sparkles, there's nothing in there. It is just plain friggin' matte. Only bone I have to pick is with this middle shade right here. It is slightly too orange, but I still use it when I am using this one. I just mix the two colors together and it works out pretty damn good. However, I use this shade 24/7. I always use this to clean up underneath my contouring or underneath my eyes just to brighten it a bit more. This is a palette that I haven't been able to put down since the day I got it, and if I'm doing that, I know it's good. So something more on the drugstore side, and this is a holy friggin' grail. This comes with me all the time. This is something I use on camera, off camera, on my friends, on my mum. This is something I use all the time, and this is the Model's Own Sculpt and Glow palette. This is on another level. Once again, it comes with a mirror, which I freaking love, but in here we have a rose gold highlighting shade, we have a champagne one, and then we have the best bronzer I've ever used. This is better than my Hooda bronzer. Like, this is so freaking good, and not to mention, like, the highlighting shades are like the bomb. I don't know if you guys can see them. Probably not. Okay, that was a terrible swatch. I take that back. I'm just gonna swatch that again for you. So I don't know if you guys can really see them because this lighting is so terrible, but honestly, I've used this in so many videos, so I know you guys can tell that I am not lying, that these are good. Just go through my videos and you will see me using this. I think I did a review on it. I can't remember. But the highlighters are freaking blinding. The bronzer is not patchy. It blends so beautifully, and that's why I really love it. Not to mention, it is such a good color. Like, it is a really good color. I feel like it's literally the exact same color as Hooda. So if you use Benefit's Hooda bronzer, then you will probably like this, if not even more. So the last contouring and highlighting palette before I move on to a single highlighter is the one and the only Tarte Pro Glow by Tarte. And if I did not include this, then honestly, I would be going against like everything I've said in all my videos when I use this. And I used it in probably at least 85 to 90% of my videos. I love it because it does have the little mirrors on the side, but I just feel like this is such a good palette. So it has the cream contouring shade, which you can tell that I use quite often. I've already hit pan on it. This blends like butter. I have never used a cream product that blends like this one does. The actual powder of the bronzer is fabulous. I was gonna say something else for a second, but I'm gonna go with the word fabulous. It blends absolutely so amazingly well. That was really over the top, but I just freaking love this palette so much because it never fails me. No matter what base I'm using, I've always been able to trust this palette with everything. Not to mention the highlighter shades. Definitely Stunner would have to be my favorite, which is this one just here. They are incredibly pigmented, really blinding, but at the same time, I love it because you can also have them to be quite of a natural look, depending on which one you choose. I think it's the Strobing shade, which is the first one up here, is more on the natural side, whereas a couple of the other ones are very intense, but that is something I love. So the last highlighter I have of this video is the Maybelline Master Chrome highlighter in Molten Gold. You guys know how I feel about this highlighter. This is honestly no words, because it is such a blinding, pigmented, intense, beautiful highlighter. There are so many words to describe this, but honestly, it is the best highlighter in the drugstore you will probably ever come across. Not to mention the shade is frigging perfect for my skin tone. Anyway, so we're gonna move on to eyes and then we'll move on to lips. So we'll talk about eyeshadow. So the first thing I'll talk about is this little pigment that I have from Inglot. This is the Inglot Pure Pigment Eyeshadow in 118. Now you guys know, I use this 24/7. It is such a good shade. I use this all the time to be like highlighting in my inner corner and stuff like that. It is so friggin' good. So for palettes, I tried to make sure that I picked out palettes that I truly loved and not just a case of, yeah, it's good, I use it. I tried to pick palettes that I know that I use all the time and that I really do love and that I reach for whether I'm on camera or off camera. And there's only two, surprisingly. So the first one is the Dose of Colors Baked Browns. Now, I've spoken about this before. I have used this multiple times. It is one of my favorite palettes. I do wish there was one shimmery shade in here, but honestly, apart from that, I cannot fault it. It is such a good palette. The colors blend so freaking well. And honestly, I've never had any patchiness. I've never had any trouble blending out the colors. These are just so good. Another palette that will probably not be a shock to you guys is the Huda Beauty Rose Gold palette. This is the original. This is not the remastered one. I never really bothered to get the remastered one because I never had any issues with this one. The only thing I was not the biggest fan of are obviously the really chunky glitters because you do need to use your finger. But at the end of the day, I use my finger 24/7 when I'm applying my makeup, whether it's maybe just patting on some highlighter or I might just spread my foundation. Like, I don't really care. I get makeup all over myself anyways, so may as well apply some eyeshadow. But this palette has never let me down. Never. Not once. I really enjoy the fact that the black shade is one of the easiest blacks I have ever used and I've ever tried to blend out, or I do blend out, because I've never had any issues with it. I feel like you can do so many looks with this palette, and once again, I reach for this 24/7. If I'm going to an event, if I'm maybe just going out for drinks, if I'm going out just for a simple dinner, this is what I always grab. Okay, so moving on to brow products, I only have two. The first one is the Benefit Brow Pomade, whatever this is called. I really enjoyed using this because I find that I can have such a natural brow, but then I can also have a really dramatic Instagram brow. And I also love the fact that on top of here, it has this super cute little brush. So I feel like if I ever forget my brush when I'm traveling, and I happen to take this with me, I'll be right. I love that this is smudge proof. I struggle so friggin' much to get this stuff off. I will wake up the next day after cleansing my face and some of this is still left on. Something that I like to go over the top with all of my brow products with is the Essence Make Me Brow Mascara. This is such a good product. I wear this with brow products. I wear this alone purely for the fact that it adds such a nice color to my eyebrows, kind of fills in those awkward spots a little bit. It helps my eyebrows sit up really nicely and it lasts. It doesn't go flaky, it doesn't crumble off. It sits on my brows so nicely, and honestly, it makes my eyebrow products last so much longer. Not to mention, this is like $3 to $4, and I'm not the type of person that's going to spend a large amount of money on a brow mascara. Okay, so quickly moving on to eyeliner. This is the only eyeliner I use and the only one that I like. It is the Maybelline Master Precise. I have been using this for years. It is a perfect little felt tip aligner. I adore it. I never really have any trouble with it, but let's be honest, I suck at eyeliner anyways, so it doesn't matter what I use, I am gonna struggle. Moving on to mascaras, which is something that I don't really use that often anymore since I got my eyelash extensions, but however, I do sometimes apply a little bit of mascara to my lower lash line, and if I happen to do that, I'm always reaching for these two right here. So the first one is the Bobbi Brown Smoky Eye Mascara, which I can't fault. This is the best mascara on the market when it comes to high-end makeup. In my personal opinion, I just think it is absolutely phenomenal. The next one I have is the Maybelline Total Temptation Mascara. This is so good. I have always said it is very similar to the Bobbi Brown mascara. Both of these are really good at lasting a really long time. They don't come off, they don't smudge, they don't smear, they don't go flaky, and they do come off really easily at the end of the day. Moving on to the lip products now. So I have 3 here. 2 are from the same brand, and that brand is Maybelline, and it is the Superstay Matte Ink. Are these liquid lipsticks? I don't really know. These are just the Superstay Matte Inks lipsticks. These are so freaking good. Not to mention the color selection is on another level. So the shades that I have with me at the moment are Seductress and Dreamer. I do have another one, but it is in my drawer and I'm just too lazy to go and get it. I adore the way that these apply. I feel like these are such a good liquid lipstick, especially for the drugstore. It is really hard to find a drugstore lipstick that actually works well. The only thing that I have noticed occasionally is that if I apply too many layers, it will get a little bit sticky. But apart from that, it is such a good lipstick because it is very hard to get off. I have eaten with this. I have had drinks of water or juice, alcohol, whatever with this, and it's never come off. Absolute last thing of the video today is the Tarte's lip paints. My favorite one I have here is called Bestie. This is just such a nice nude that works with everything. It is not too pale for my skin tone in my opinion, and I can layer and layer and layer this and I never have an issue with it. I've never had it crack, I've never had it crumble, I've never had it fade or anything like that. Alrighty guys, that is all I have for you today. That is my video of my favorite products from 2018, and honestly, they are hands down my favorite. You will still see these in 2019. You'll see more in 2019 because I've got a lot of videos planned. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I shall see you next time. Bye.